right. Should we get to Mr. Matarese now?
Definitely.
Because I wanted to catch up. So we talked about the pilot episode 1 of Joe Matarese, the Joe Matarese Show, as it's known. And today we're kind of looking at episodes 2, 3, and 4 a little bit, mainly because I worry about Joe Matarese. I don't know how long we're going to be talking about old Joe. Because, it was a thing, like, Red Bar kind of did it to death. Red Bar sucked all the juice out of the lemon, you would think. But then Matarese took a break for a while. And then the Porcelain documentaries definitely had an impact on that, too.
In part 3, actually made a positive light on Joe, kind of.
Yeah. Well, there's two things here. One is, like, maybe there's not much more there. Maybe we know the whole story. I thought a comeback story for Joe was fun. But also, what I think of it more is, like, the difference between Matarese and, say, like, Tom Myers or Dat Fan is you root for Matarese. He doesn't think he's better than anyone.
No.
He has some delusions of grandeur that come out at times.
And he was he was in America's Got Talent, and there was like a lot of attention on him at that time, so it's kind of understandable, I guess.
Sure, I guess, but there's, he wants your help.
Right.
He hears your criticisms and he wants to become better. So that almost makes you root for Matarese. It makes it a little sadder story as well at times, but like it makes him more lovable than some of these other figures. So I want to try helping him. I think the first thing that the critics did to help him was analyze his first episode and suggest that maybe a certain segment get nixed. Because there's a few interesting things we're going to hear, and I'll explain them to you as we go along. But this episode just starts, episode 2. There's no monologue. And I thought that's a little suspicious.
Yep, this is episode 2 premise.
Yeah, so this is how it starts.
All right, everybody. How are you? Welcome to episode 2. Hope you can kind of get the gist of what episode 2 is about, and I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there that will be able to relate to this.
Hold on. Like, if you just started... If, like, today I started the show and said, well, I hope you guys get the gist of what I'm going for today.
Yep. So here's the thing about that.
What?
I know what he's saying. What he is saying is the title of it is something to do with his son's phone, I believe.
So I don't think so. That's what I thought at first.
Oh.
I realized what happened as we go along.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so I'll explain once it comes up.
My voice of God, Mike, is here. Say hi, Mike.
Mike Albanese.
He's back. He's back. What's up?
What's up, buddy?
So you don't have any kids, so you can't completely relate. But this episode,
I got a mini poodle.
Yeah, you have a poodle.
Mini poodle.
All right. Well, imagine if your poodle was in high school, and is it a boy or a girl?
She's a girl.
She's a girl. Imagine if she.
Why does that matter, Joe?
I think he's just kind of like, why did you say that? And he's just continuing to talk to him.
But listen, so this is what the premise of the entire episode is going to be. This is where Joe gets fucked up, where he's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back, and each podcast is going to be a different topic about my life. He doesn't realize his life's not interesting enough to do that.
Her cell phone out during class, got caught, got in trouble. Then the parents got an email saying this happened. You have a long talk with your son. You can't be doing this. I explained, I'm a comedian. How much do we hate when people are distracted and on their phones? I said, so
that's really going to get through to the kids, by the way.
I know.
Listen, like I get heckled at comedy shows because a guy in Chicago told everyone that I suck. That's exactly what your teacher is going through.
And then 2 weeks later, we get another email, or say you got another email from your poodle's teacher saying that she did it again.
So, if you guys are a little lost, the premise of the episode will be that Joe's son was texting in class. That's it. That's what happened. Yeah.
Half hour on this.
What? Joe, what are you talking about? And he's talking about levels of punishment. And then he gets into like, you can't even say punishment these days. That's like, it's not woke to say the word punishment. And I'm like, Joe, what are you talking about, man? You're grasping at straws. What are you talking about?
He got punished in different ways, which he's about to tell us.
Oh, is that right? Let's hear.
Yeah, feels excessive here.
My dad, you know, because maybe because I'm 16 years younger. I mean, he definitely he hit me at times when we were younger. I can remember.
You heard my act.
Where I was too old to be getting hit. Did you get hit by your dad ever?
So this discussion is popping up because his son texted in class.
So immediately his brain goes, should I hit him?
Should I? So, you know, guys, my son was texting. And let's be clear, he didn't just do it once. He did it a second time. So should I get a bat out and hit him over the head with it? What do you think? Let's discuss for a half an hour.
Just absolutely crush him.
It's not. This is what Joe's thing is like. The presentation of this topic doesn't make any sense. Should I beat my child because he was using the phone we gave him?
Yeah.
In an age where everyone's on their phone all the time.
Yeah. I'd be more pissed at the teacher for, I don't know if the teacher, I know back in the day for me, like the teachers would take the phones.
Yeah, that's weird that you get 2 emails. Like each incident warrants an email to the house being like, you looked at his phone during history class today. So this is the premise of the episode. I guess they're talking about, should I punish my child? It's not an interesting. Not only is it not an interesting topic because a lot of your audience might not even have kids. I guess maybe Joe's thinking like his audience is mostly families and stuff like that. But you're losing a portion of the audience, I think. You know.
Dang Lizard with the €2. Profile picture is me in a playground and says, Craig, why are you streaming from the playground with an arrow pointing at the picture? I like that.
I gotta tell you, they never get old, these jokes.
Yes, they do.
Every time I think they're going to, they don't.
I think they get to of legal age. Sure do.
Well, I was gonna say you, much like Matthew McConaughey, share similar thoughts on that.
No. Edgy Joe is the next one.
Oh, this is where Joe gets a little off the rails here, I think.
The second joke that I wrote that I didn't do was
hold on. Sorry. Already. You hear that? The second joke that I wrote that I didn't do. Do you know what he's referring to?
He's referring to the monologue he did not do on this episode.
But they're talking about it as if he did do it. He's like, here's how I wrote the first joke, and he tells us about it. I went back. I thought maybe I'm crazy, but no, there was no monologue. So I think what happened was we weren't the only people who made fun of that opening monologue. And Joe said, I guess I'm not doing the monologue anymore because he got made fun of for it.
Yeah, he recorded it and then went, cut that shit.
Yeah, by the time the first episode came out, he knew to cut the second monologue. And then it never came back again, unfortunately.
The second joke that I wrote that I didn't do was, and my wife told me not to do it. And on that typical me, I'm going to do it now.
Whoa, Joe, Jesus.
Wow.
Everyone's warned you. Don't do this. Are you
wow.
Sure? We're going to play it because you had the guts to put it out there. But I'm warning everyone. Trigger warning. Joe's about to get nuts.
Monster.
It's about that he was acting like a heroin addict, like this is heroin, and that he was like, and that was the joke where I was going to go, come on, Dad.
I can't believe he's talking about his kid.
You brought up heroin and mixed company, Joe.
Wow,
you're going to mention that?
Just give me one swipe, man. Can I just get one swipe? Just let me touch it.
Let me just check my fins to 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Yeah, and
I gotta say, Mike Albanese is as big a hack as Matarese.
I think Mike Albanese is trying to just keep Joe's confidence up, so he keeps paying him to do the show.
I don't know. We haven't highlighted Mike Albanese much yet, but like he throws out some fucking bombs on this Joe Matarese show. That's
what happens when he is, this is the first day. Don't forget, same shirt. So he recorded this right after.
Oh, is that right? It's the same shirt as the last one?
Yep.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's the same day as the first one. They're still getting to know each other.
Gotcha.
We won't judge Mike Albanese till at least episode 10. I think.
All right, that's fine.
And I got these $80 slides you can have. I'll trade you.
All right, maybe we can judge him a little. We can judge him a little bit, I guess.
My wife is like, "You can't say that." Come on, I'll.
Oh my God, I'm just getting the visual too. By the way, of him being like, "Hey, honey, you want to read some of these jokes I have written?"
So I think the vibe that I get, because we know his wife a little bit now, from the little I know of her. I don't think it was, Joe, you can't do that. It was more, Joe, you can't do that.
You're really going to talk about our kid and heroin?
Why? Well, listen to this. This is what Joe presented this to his wife and is like, yeah, she didn't want me to do this. It's weird.
I'll suck your dick. What was it?
She was right, by the way.
Yeah, she goes,
Great
don't
joke,
do that.
though.
I'll suck your dick. I'll suck your dick for what the fuck was it? I gotta look on my phone. It's so
He's
bad.
so giddy.
So you cut out the monologue, but not this part.
That's a good point. Yeah. Edit around this.
He's basically doing a MacGruber joke, by the way.
Well, this is not an original thing. Like, hey, it's like being blank. Not even cell phones. Anything is like being a heroin addict. Hey, I'll suck your dick for X. Fill in the blanks.
When MacGruber feels like he fucked up, he's like, just tell me what you want me to fuck.
Oh yeah.
That's what he's doing right now.
But Joe's so giddy. In his mind, Joe has stumbled onto gold here, and he can't even get it out.
He's like, my son, he's trying to suck dick for heroin.
Can you imagine my son sucking on the end of my cock so I give him his phone back? I mean, just the imagery. You get it, Mike Albanese.
That's 2 clips that we're probably going to want back.
Oh God!
Hold on, let me put a picture of your son up while you're doing this joke.
Come on, hook
Jesus,
a brother
Mike.
up.
All right, Mike Albanese is starting to scare me.
Good Lord, Mike. So he constantly puts up pictures of his kids. And then I think in episode 3 or 4, Mike Albanese mentions to him, like, hey, a lot of people have been suggesting that I shouldn't, or it might have even been Matarese, that was like, yeah, people are saying I shouldn't put up pictures of my kids, but it's like, the pictures are taken from kind of far away. It's like, Joe, you've been, at a time, you were one of the most trolled comedians ever.
Ever.
And you've decided to put your children on the internet. What's wrong with you?
Someone in the chat says ERJ, Urja, whatever. His producer an undercover troll?
I don't think so. I think he's just kind of a cornball because he also produces for Paul Verzi.
Yeah.
And I know that because I listened to like Joe List and a couple other guys on Verzi's show,
Mhm.
and he's got the same energy.
Okay.
So I don't think so. I think he's just a bit of a dork.
I'll suck your dick for a text. Hey, what the? That's what it was. Boom, and
Yeah, Joe, we all knew that a minute ago when you set up the premise. We understood. We saw it coming from 80 miles away.
Music starts. We're gonna go right to the show on my son sucking his dad's dick. Yeah, that's really good, Joe.
Boy.
Really good,
Joe. Joe. And you're right. Why didn't he cut that out? For many reasons, but one of them being that he's like, yeah, so we just did that and then went into the intro. When we all watched the intro, and it's like, no, you cut that out.
Cut that part out.
Poor
So
Joe.
this is episode 3 now.
Okay, what's the premise of this episode? So I kind of wanted just to set up, like, this idea that Joe had where we're going to go one topic every episode. I think Joe very quickly started to realize it gets a little monotonous. That's hard to do because by episode 3, he starts running out of topics.
See, here's the thing, though, Mike. You're asking, what's the premise of this? Well, it's the last clip that we have of episode 3 is when he talks about the premise, so we won't know until the end.
No, and it's 21 minutes into a 30-minute episode.
Correct.
So.
So first, we have him talking about guests.
Okay, so this is another thing that Joe set up in episode 1 that we heard. Is he's like, hey, I ain't gonna do guests. I ain't like all these other podcasts that have guests on, especially not other comedians.
Right. And
if there's one thing you can guarantee about me, Joe Matarese, is that I will not ever have guests on this podcast, especially if they do comedy.
and this
So
is
here's
the
episode 3.
Yeah, so this is also the following week because, like I said, they recorded 2 episodes in the first one.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
It didn't take them very long.
So it's a week later.
Yes.
All right, folks. There he was, Mike behind the glass, as they say, my producer for my podcast, and he's becoming the co-host. I mean, he's the guy I have to talk to every episode. We will have guests,
Have to.
and that I like talking.
Now, the undercover troll comment on something like that makes me wonder.
No, I'm telling you. I really don't think so.
Because he's like, yeah, you're kind of, I have to talk to you. And he goes, yeah, you have to.
I'm telling you, I think you're misreading the guy just in the little eye. You could be right. Maybe. We'll see. But I really don't think so.
I mean, he's the guy I have to talk to every episode. We will have guests.
Have to.
And that I like talking to. I think we're going to start having guests, something a little honest here at the top, because a lot of the people that get a hold of me on social media, now that I'm podcasting, they're like, now you got to go do everybody's podcast. And now,
that I'm podcasting, he's been podcasting off and on for 8 years.
Yeah. Don't go on their shows to promote your dates or anything. Just
now that I'm podcasting, people have said to me, you should go on other podcasts. Well, also, why are they like, they're saying, hey, Joe, better your career, and he's giving him this whiny voice
on your podcast. And I'm like, if people only knew how this fucking comedy business works, and Mike knows, because Mike's got
this
podcast.
Business we call show. If you civilians only understood, if you mere laymen's could grasp what we as comedians go through, this is where this is the delusion I was talking about with Matarese. This is where we stumble into a little bit. He's like, you guys don't, you 9-to-5ers don't understand what we have to go through.
Studio here, and he even produces other podcasts here. And he's telling me the guys, some of these guys that do podcasts here, they'll come and do your show. We'll see, because so far they're a little flaky.
So he went from absolutely, I don't want guests, we're not doing guests on this podcast, to now criticizing people for not coming on.
I went through
into the show.
I went through my entire Rolodex immediately after saying I'll never do that.
Listen to this, though. He's already shitting on everyone who's not come on the show after he said he wouldn't have guests. And let's see how long it took him to get angry.
This next clip is the Endless Cosby bit.
Oh, sorry. I must have cut it off at the end where he goes, it's only been a week, but they haven't gotten back to me. It's like, hey, Joe, relax. Take it easy. You said you didn't even want guests. Yeah, so this is so they start talking about Cosby. They mention how you can't say anything anymore. Joe's taking that angle a lot. Like, oh, people get so sensitive. And this is a discussion about Bill Cosby. A lot goes on here. Let's just play it.
Put some words out. I don't know. Should I say the exact guys that I've asked to come on that have not got back to me? That's probably stupid to do in the business. I won't say it because it's only been a week. Some people just take a lot of comedians. Like when I get texts, Mike, I text back immediately.
This is what I was talking about. I didn't realize it was a separate clip where he's like, "Well, I text back immediately because I've got nothing going on." Yet, for some reason, when I text Sebastian Maniscalco and ask him to come on my podcast with 500 views, I don't hear anything.
I'm like, did you forget my wife's a doctor?
It's crazy. He gets so riled up about this. Joe, it's been a week. Relax.
Calm down. This is why every other show is tanked.
Don't self-destruct again, Joe. Take a breather.
You have a spaz attack real quick. And then it ends.
Yeah, we're about a week away from him. Like, it failed. I'm not doing it.
I'm flaky and I forget. I just always text back.
You can say one of them. I'll say it because I don't care.
Who?
Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah, Bill Cosby said no.
Hilarious.
Can you believe it?
I can't believe he can even see the text, the phone to text no.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, God.
Mike Albanese stinks.
Mike Albanese, I take back everything I said about him.
Mike Albanese sucks. I mean, Joe is the star, so we're going to focus on Joe. But Mike Albanese, ooh, Bomaroo.
Oof. I'm latching on to he's a troll.
I don't think so.
Full-blown troll guy.
Camera for that. I mean, tell everybody.
That was a good one.
Whoa. Mike Albanese. No, Mike Albanese has a camera now.
Oh yeah. They make a big deal about that. They do this bit, I think in episode 4, where they're like, "Whoa, I bet people don't even realize it looks like we're far away, but we're actually in the same room." I'm like, Joe, the camera was not just invented. It looks like that train is coming at us. This
Tell
is not.
everybody.
This is not a sleight of hand trick you're pulling off with the cameras.
I can't believe he can even see the text, the phone to text no.
Oof.
Oh God, put yourself on camera for that. I mean, tell
That was a
everybody.
good one.
Hold on. I had the same reaction that Mike Albanese did. I assumed Joe was about to trash him for bombing and being like, "Oh, put yourself on camera. You should be humiliated that you just said that."
Yeah.
Nope. Joe's running with the bit.
I've never hit the bomb button on this show, but I'm dangerously close to hitting this on Mike Albanese every time he opens his fucking mouth.
Even Mike was like, "Listen, I bomb. All right, I guess you're going to give it to me here." No. Joe says, "Let's stretch this out for another minute and a half."
You talk to him.
He was, I mean,
Oh, he puts he puts him on camera because he talks to him.
Yeah, you talked to him. I mean, he was talking about Camille and Jell-O. Am I right, Mike?
You know,
Go ahead. Stretch this bomb out a little more.
Joe Matarese could have won everyone over if he was like, "Oh, put yourself on camera and repeat that terrible joke."
No. We took out Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but I'd like to decimate the entire nation. If you wouldn't mind, let's talk about your conversation with Bill Cosby.
he was a little rude.
He was.
Yeah, because he said, "Matta who?" And I was like, "Matta's more than you. I'm gonna leave now."
Oh my god! Oh my god!
But Mike Albanese is like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Stop making me. I bombed. All right, you got me."
Matter who?
This is to go back to the punishment, like when Joe is trying to figure out how to punish his kid. Make his kid lengthen this joke. Make him just languish in this horrible Bill Cosby riff that they're on here.
Oh, so bad.
When you call, he answers.
He picks up when I call.
Yeah,
We have a special thing.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually my dad.
I actually met Cosby once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've told it on other podcasts, so I'm not going to tell it again.
Okay,
but
this is also where it gets fun. So Joe finally realized him, I guess the bit that Mike Albanese's Bill Cosby's son wasn't working for Joe, finally, at long last. You just heard him say, now what did he just say?
He met him.
He met him, but what? I've told it on other podcasts.
Which one?
Which is, hold on, good instinct, by the way. I told it on podcasts that aren't on the internet anymore and no one ever listened to, so I'm not going to tell it here.
I got shy and deleted them all.
But remember how last week we heard Joe say, I'm not going to give out the address of this studio, but it is on 57th and 1st Street.
Yeah.
Joe is that's a bit of a pattern with Joe where he says, listen, I told this Bill Cosby story elsewhere. I'm not going to tell it here.
Here it is.
I've told it on other podcasts, so I'm not going to tell it again. But my dad and I together met Cosby and talked to him for 45 minutes before any.
Well, then that's all he's going to say, right? He's just, hey, listen, I'm not going to tell the whole story. Me and my dad talked to him for a little while, and he's going to move on, right?
In the same breath, he didn't even inhale yet. I'm not going to tell the story by me and my dad.
Yeah. So, but you know what? I'll give him the benefit of that. He's saying, hey, I'm not going to tell the whole story. Maybe that's what he means. I'm not going to tell the whole story. But me and my dad talked to him for about 45 minutes. Next subject. Right, Joe?
Right.
When I saw him live at the Apollo, I had backstage passes. And
okay, so now we're getting a little more detail. We're backstage now.
Okay, all right.
For a guy who's not telling a story, he's really painted quite a picture.
You got to get the Cliff Notes versions for some, couple people that may not have heard.
All right, that's fine. But yeah, not enough. He's not telling the story, so clearly he's not talking about it still.
Right. That would be insane.
And we all sat on stage at the Apollo after Cosby did a killer 2 hours. And
let me recite the entire thing.
This is vivid detail for a story you're not telling, Joe. How are we still on this clip?
45 minutes, and he let us just ask him comedy questions. It was fucking crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. And then he had to taint it.
And then, no, Joe. There's no and then, because you're not telling the story.
And then he had to taint it.
You're right, Craig. If you were transcribing this, it would be one run-on sentence where you're right. He didn't take a breath. He said, I told this Bill Cosby story. I'm not going to tell it before, but me and my dad met him for 25 minutes. It was at the Apollo Theater. We were backstage. Then we got on the stage, and he started telling these jokes to us on stage, and it was really incredible. He has not stopped, in between him saying he's not telling the story, he's gone into vivid detail about this story.
I had a nice story in my mind. You can't even say his name in a conversation now. You could get canceled for just going, did you hear about Bill Cosby?
No.
You can't. Norm Macdonald literally had the line I always loved because Norm had this story about meeting Bill Cosby and saying that his father was a huge Bill Cosby fan. And Bill Cosby says, well, let me get your father's phone number. And Norm starts to write it down and then realizes his father's dead. But he's like in too deep, so he just writes down a bunch of numbers and hands it to him. And then Cosby calls him and says, the man on the phone was not your father. And Norm's like, I'm pretty sure. And so that's the story. And then I think it was Norm Macdonald Live. Norm goes, I used to have a great Bill Cosby story. Now it's not in the top 10,000. So it's like he's making that, but also like you can mention Bill Cosby and not get canceled. I'm pretty sure we're doing it right now. You know?
Did you hear about Bill Cosby?
Nah, YouTube's taking us down. Fuck.
Demonetized. This is him talking about censorship now.
Joe, listen. I got wrapped up in this too. I talked a lot about cancel culture and the PC. It's time to move on.
Some say it was the identity of this program at first.
In the early days, yes, but you realize how exhausting it gets. Joe.
Yes. We figured out in like 2 weeks. We were like,
yeah. We figured it out, Joe. I'm trying to enlighten you as well. That's not what's holding you back.
Believe that? Can you believe that? Now is this episode gonna get canceled because I said his name?
So it's a wrap, dude.
No,
wrap.
It's like I think Mike Albanese just scared the shit out of Joe. He's like, yeah, dude, it's a wrap. He's like, really?
Is that YouTube on the phone? I thought it was Bill Cosby.
Could be. I know. I mean, I guess you have to have huge numbers. Maybe you don't need huge numbers to get canceled. What's his name? I got an episode taken down off of YouTube.
Oh, I like this. Hold on. He goes. I thought you had to have huge numbers. Maybe you don't, because I thought old what's his name had a episode taken down. Let's see who he's talking about when he refers to just a tiny podcast that got taken off the internet.
Ooh, let me try to take a guess of the ballpark. Tiny podcast.
He's saying you don't need a name. You don't need name recognition to get canceled these days.
Oh, it would probably be like Very Good Show, maybe.
Sure, something like that. That's what I would think. That level.
Theo Von when he interviewed.
He chose a massive show.
He chose one of the biggest podcasts on YouTube.
He chose a massive show, and it became like national news. Like everyone was talking about it that week.
Oh my god!
Because Theo Von put his episode on Twitter. Roseanne was on saying crazy shit. Like everyone was talking. He chose the worst. It would be Rogan wouldn't even be the worst example because that would be almost too ridiculous.
Yeah.
He picked the worst example where it's a guy that everyone would agree, even if you don't listen to the show, it's like, oh, that's a pretty huge show.
It's gigantic. everyone in like anyone that's like a fan of comedy or comedy podcasts knows that name.
Right. Whether or not you listened or like him or whatever, you know who Theo Von is, and you know that's a huge show. He's much bigger from that show than his stand-up.
Why doesn't my show get big and no one take me seriously? What's his face?
I'm just a young up-and-comer like Theo Von.
YouTube. Theo Von, when he interviewed Roseanne Barr, they took it down. And then he put it up on Twitter and it fucking got 10 million views. Yeah.
So it would have had like 3 million on YouTube. That's what you're missing, Joe.
Doesn't realize how many.
He's like, maybe we should put this on Twitter and it'll get 10 million views.
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna look up Theo Von right now and see how many subscribers he has.
Please, yeah. Let's see. Maybe you don't need all that success to get canceled.
Let's see. Do you have a ballpark guess?
800,000.
2.2 million.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, so you were a little off.
So maybe like, little upstart shows like the Joe Matarese show or this past weekend with Theo Von, even those can get taken off of YouTube.
In 5 days, his last video has over 500,000 views. And the week
That's very-
before
that's-
that,
That's very funny.
the week before that is 3 million with Dana White.
You don't have to be a somebody to get canceled these days.
Oh, he had Tucker Carlson on his show, and it got almost 5 million views.
You could be some who gives a shit podcaster like Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, no, his show's only quadrupling late night television ratings.
Yeah. So Joe's always got, as always, has his finger on the pulse of society and comedy.
and million views.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll take it down just for saying Bill Cosby. You can't say his name. I just said it.
What is
Take
the
it
straw argument? The straw man argument you're presenting here, Joe?
He's such a tough guy. He's like, yeah, take it down. I said his name.
I dare you. Joe, there were literally podcasts made about Bill Cosby's trial. The fuck are you talking about?
It's ridiculous that you can't freaking make up a joke and say something about something that happened in the news, even if it's negative. You tell me you can't do jokes about Israel because there's a war going on? Can you not?
That's, you know what? That's an excellent point, because I have Instagram.
Yep.
And I've scrolled, and boy, have I seen, you know what I think most when I scroll through Instagram? I wish more comedians were making jokes about Israel. I really wish someone finally had the guts to address this subject. No one's talking about it. God damn it. If only there was a Jewish man in the crowd that they could riff on.
What a fucking weird thing. You know, all those people whose kids and shit are dying. Why can't we make fun of them yet?
But he chose the most popular topic in culture in the last 2 months. He's like, why is no one talking about this?
You can't do jokes about Israel because there's a war going on? Can you not make jokes about it? Are you seeing? You're in the clubs in New York City?
Yeah, people are making jokes about it.
There you go, Mike.
He's a troll, I'm telling you.
Old Mikey Truth Bombs saying, yeah, no, Joe, as a matter of fact, literally comedians that have no business talking about Israel versus Palestine are weighing in on this issue. It's all, you could argue it's all anyone's talking about.
Joe is Brendan Schaub without the CTE.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably not a bad comparison. Because with Brendan, there's a little delusion. I think in his heart of hearts, he's an okay guy.
Joe?
Both of them.
Yeah. The only thing, though, is like, no matter what you say about Schaub, he is successful.
Yeah, way more than Joe, for sure. Yes.
And in the grand scheme of broadcasting, I'd say he's quite successful.
Yeah, that's true.
Have to. I mean, like, even if people are hating on
You're
him,
right. Yeah, you know what? What's giving me pause is like his numbers have gone way downhill, but like he does way better than us, you know. So
his worst videos still get like 6 figures.
Yeah. You know what's funny? On our latest Brendan Schaub video, when we talked about Toontown, I am literally in Thick Boy merch. And maybe here's how you know, maybe we've done our jobs.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally wearing this merch that I bought. And the comments on the videos, a lot of them are like, oh, nice view count. You're nowhere near Schaub's league. Like, people are mad at me for bashing Brendan Schaub.
Can I say the most heat I think we may have ever gotten on this program was us talking about cars.
What do you mean?
I just got like I saw so many comments.
Oh, the most feedback, like, you're saying.
Yeah. Like people being like, don't fucking talk about cars ever again.
We turned on, and I was like, you know what? Maybe we've done it. Maybe we've forced people onto Brendan's side.
Yeah, we did.
Gang, we did it.
And you can always tell who doesn't fully listen because we were like, we are not car guys.
Oh yeah, no. I was surprised anyone even acknowledged. My name's Blind Mike. I think I'm spending a lot of time on hot rods.
I think so.
David, all right, was there any more Matarese?
David Collins in the chat. Joe Matarese is a household name.
I mean, come on. David, I want to be close to you.
Let us be friends.
Let me in, damn it.
Next is sports talk.
I mean, this is so. On the Kirk Minahan show, we've talked plenty over the years about how sports talk radio is dying for various reasons, or radio in general, you could say, is dying. But sports talk, a lot of it feels like forced and phony. And I got to thinking when I was listening to this episode, I said, what if some of the great sports talk, what if you took Jim Rome or Colin Cowherd or one of these guys, and you had them concentrate on your local softball league?
Oh,
now that has the recipe for some great radio, I think.
And that's the same guy that I talked about on the other podcast. I think that was last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago, who came up to me and told me my podcast.
Just for clarity, what he's referencing is an episode that had not come out yet when he's talking about it. It was the following week's episode.
Okay.
So no one listening has any context for what the fuck he's talking about.
Without me even asking. Hey, he got mad. He calls me Mother Teresa now. That's what he called me at the last softball game. He goes, "Oh, Mother Teresa's here," because I was explaining via text. Because I just get on a fucking tangent sometimes, and I'll piss people off via text.
He's tying up his arm to shoot up. Oh, Mother Teresa over here doesn't like to have a good time.
Yeah, that's what he
nods
Shut
off
up, Mike Albanese. I fucking hate you. I was on his side like a second ago.
Say, and I'm not saying I'm talking from personal experience, maybe smart of Joe to have a more hateable figure as the second voice in the program.
And you know what's funny? When he once that takes off and people are like, yeah, let's fucking hate Mike Albanese, he's gonna be like, we gotta help Joe, Mike Albanese. He's getting too much attention. We gotta take him off the show.
Well, yeah, Joe's tinkering never does help the program, but
no, never does. Just stick with it until you find that lane.
So just so you guys know, we're gonna talk about it again because he brings it back up. But here's what's happening here. He talks about this guy that called him Mother Teresa because Joe called him a lazy drunk or something. And this guy's like, fuck you, your podcast stinks. But he's referencing that in episode 3. He's like, hey, you know how I talked about this last week? And I went back to find the story and I couldn't. I was like, this doesn't exist. It's in episode 4. So he's like, hey, you know how last week I talked about this? And then next week he's like, I got this story about a guy in my softball league.
So he doesn't even record them in order.
No.
Yeah. I basically said, because, you know what it was? I mentioned in the text, I think I was 3 or 4 for 4 in the game before that. And I said I took Adderall before the game and I drank a cup of coffee. And one of the guys wrote, I got to decide if I'm going to go with the Joe Matarese method and drink the coffee.
The Joe Matarese method, like he's Mickey Mantle.
He is.
Am I going with the Matarese method? Am I going to be like Barry Bonds, Joe Matarese, one of the great performance-enhancing drug users of all time?
I hope he pens a note that talks about getting blown on the side of the softball field.
Oh, by the way, we're 20 minutes into this episode when we were talking about this. He has not presented the premise of episode 3 yet.
Nope, not yet. We're getting
there.
Next game, or I'm going to go with this other guy. I'm not going to say his name, and get high and drink
and have a 40-ounce Heineken.
Yeah, and I explained to them because he has a really high average. The guy who gets high and drinks, I think he's leading our team in batting.
So it's your
but
teammate.
I said, and this is why he called me Mother Teresa. I said, you might be leading the team in hitting, but drinking and smoking pot, it's slow pitch softball, is what I explained. It's slow. We play high arc.
Yeah.
I go, it's going to affect you in the field when guys are hitting the ball really hard at you. And he was like, he wrote something
hey, gang, if you thought baseball was boring, wait till you hear about a guy that went 3 for 4 in his slow pitch softball league.
Meanwhile, he's on Adderall.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
that's the other thing. He's like, it's slow pitch softball. That's why I get all fucking juiced up to swing out of my shoes.
Well, I hope you're not slamming my fielding. And I was, because I watched him miss 2 different relay plays where the outfielder, he was playing infield. He he was playing second. He cut it off and missed the cutoff. Like did one of these where it like hit off the side of his glove, and now he didn't have to play. We lost the game, and 2 different times I watched that happen because I was in the outfield, and I'm like, I said it's just like driving, dude. I go, no one's a better driver. I love these people that say I'm a better driver when I'm high, or I'm a better driver when I'm drunk. No, you're not.
That's a fascinating take. I guess, you know what, gang? It's been a hot debate in this country for a long time. And it turns out Joe just shed a little light on it. Don't get drunk and drive.
No.
Finally, we've gotten an answer on that one. You shouldn't drink and drive, actually.
It's actually a bad idea.
But Joe, talking about people's batting averages and, this guy, I razzed this guy about his fielding, and he was none too pleased with that. It's like, Joe, what is this? Oh, that's right. He can only focus on one topic, so he has to talk about this.
We should have Hack Ride get Red Bar on here for the next one of these we do.
I respect Red Bar. I don't want to introduce him to this world. There's too much he could pick apart.
That's true. He could kill us.
Yeah, I'm a sensitive boy. I don't want that.
I'll retweet it. Next we have Roasted.
Oh, so this is what I mean. Listen, Joe's not going to deal with some nonsense. This guy said, hey, your podcast stinks, which we'll get to, but which hasn't happened in this story yet. But Joe's criticizing, the man's. Joe's trying to be, as I've said for many years, when you're in a leadership role, you're kind of striving to be The Rock and Rogan with their crew. That's what he's really trying to be at the end of the day, is Joe Rogan leading his band of merry men in the gym. And that's what Matarese is trying to do with this group of softballers.
Or as he calls them, the guys.
The guys.
This guy called me Mother Teresa when I walked in, and I was like, dude, I was just, and I'm a nice guy, thank God. I take antidepressants too. So it makes me a little nicer. It just kind of does, because he was being kind of a dick to go up to someone and say your podcast isn't good. I'm like, after one episode, and I just took it. I didn't.
Can you believe Joe's not used to that at this point?
I feel like you'd be numb to that. It's like me getting called gay and stuff like that.
Some things are just true.
Nope. Sometimes
Craig is a minor attracted person,
Nope.
and Joe Matarese's podcast stink. Some things just are.
Nope. Some things are. One of those is true.
Yes, correct.
Yep.
At least one of them.
Just one. Tell me. We'll watch this podcast, and you tell me which one it is.
Sure.
I bet it wasn't even correct for me to take it. Like, it was not like, that's something you should be like, dude, why are you? Well, like, if someone came up, do you usually?
If you said laughing there, we'd have to redo everything.
I was more focused on what we were talking about a second ago, where our buddy Visionless Dave replied to Opie's tweet. I forgot to mention this, and said, like, Mike's an okay guy, but his producer is gay, pink, and racist. And I replied that summarizing Craig, this would be like summarizing Jerry Sandusky as a gay football coach. That's quite an understatement you're making, Visionless Dave.
No, that's what the very good show chat just calls me fat, gay, pink, retarded, racist.
I think a couple other adjectives should be added based on the things that have come to light.
Why change things,
Yeah.
Dick move like that to you?
No, I just snap back.
You snap back.
But then, like, in a fun
way.
way.
I'd hate to get that Albanese heat. I would hate to hear what comes out of Mike Albanese when you cross him.
All right, Cosby.
But then, like, in a fun way.
My rings inside. Yeah. I did. You know what?
That might have been the worst drop I've ever heard.
He's good with the drops, at least.
I mean, he knows it's coming and he's talking over it.
I'll tell Coleman that. Coleman's got a long day tomorrow. I'm going to let him know. Make sure when you play those drops, make sure people are talking over them and you can't hear them at all.
Yeah, make sure you and Gus talk as soon, like, coordinate before you push the button.
Yeah, Coleman, next time you play a drop, that should be the one time in the show you chime in.
Yeah, talk directly over it. That's just, the best way.
Why would he hit the drop there?
I have no idea.
I like that one.
So do I. Let's continue.
fun way.
My ring's
Unless they're
insane.
being a complete-
I did. You know what my snapback was?
Lord,
It's literally the loudest drop I've ever heard too.
that's what I know would drive Carl nuts. Because Carl, I think, really focuses on like the technical stuff. That would drive him insane if he heard this. The idea of someone playing drop, like just hitting a drop on while you're talking. It's fucking madness.
I told him
that's the way it
"Don't
is, you
do
know?"
a kiddie porn.
What was that?
I forgot about
What was that?
I forgot about that drop. That was from Quincy.
No, let me hear. It sounded like it was from Craig's neighborhood.
No.
What was it?
I said, don't do a kiddie porn.
Oh, well, it didn't work, sweetheart. I'm sorry. Is that why you were standing by the bus stop?
No, nope. Neighborhood watch. You know what I mean?
Neighborhood watch.
Yeah, helping everybody out.
10 a.m. Make sure in this suburban town, danger isn't about.
I was just walking. I was trying to get exercise, dude.
Oh, now it's exercise. I thought it was neighborhood watch.
Because he dyed his fucking. He had a
Great.
beard.
Yeah.
And he cut it into a mustache, like a 70s mustache on purpose, and he dyed it really dark.
Yeah.
To kind of be ironic and funny. And he goes, "Oh, here comes Mother Teresa." And I go,
How long does he talk about the Mother Teresa comment?
Quite a lot.
Oh my god.
2 episodes.
he's the guy that thinks I party too much. I go, "How high were you when you made that mustache choice?"
Perfect.
That was what I said.
Oh, Joe, you son of a bitch.
Got him.
This guy, I hope a grave has been dug for him already, because there's going to be a funeral for this son of a bitch.
I party too much. I go, "How high were you when you made that mustache choice?"
Perfect.
That was what
Nice.
But he laughed.
I always like an insult, like where we don't know the person. It's just a random guy from your softball league, and it's a visual joke, so it's doubly incoherent.
I just realized I cut this clip right in the middle of another Albanese drop.
Oh boy. Well, hey, listen.
choice.
Perfect.
That was what I said
Yeah, there
back
you
to
go.
him. But he laughed.
You know what you want?
I stopped it too
That's
soon.
an attention getter. It's always good to be like, listen, over Thanksgiving, someone was kind of giving me shit, and I was like, nice shirt, buddy. I mean, you don't know what the shirt was like, but I really got it. Like, no one had mentioned it yet. So, yeah, I guess you had to be there, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah. I think it's a great
Was one of
method
the
to do
best
it, you know?
people to have ever been on this earth.
We hear that one again. Why don't we use these drops?
I forgot they were here.
This is another. This was Richard Ojeda reading Craig's diary.
No, that's not true.
Hitler was one of the best people to have ever been on this earth.
Do you believe it? What's that?
It was a Warthog special.
I gotta say, I don't know if we ever talked about that. That's not a terrible Castiglione.
I mean, you know what I'm doing at least.
That's not bad.
You know.
What other drops do we have?
Can
you please kindly?
Oh well, of course.
Please.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's a great
boys.
one. Hey, go watch Everybody Knows We're Lame, which for some reason Menners put out at the same time. I couldn't even tweet about it because I was trying to get people to watch Why Are You Laughing.
I saw that.
I don't know why they put it out at the exact same time. If you did it on purpose, it's kind of funny, but
Was there a ratings battle?
I'm sure. Yes, I don't know. I haven't checked. It's hard to know what the numbers would be the night before Thanksgiving, but
Yeah, you're like Rick Rude being on Raw and Nitro on the same night.
someone said, I tweeted about it, and someone said, "Boy, this reminds me of when Bob Saget was on Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos."
How's that
All
hit you?
Oh, that was Kimmel. Who was he roasting in that one?
Trump, I think.
Oh, it's got to be, yeah. How's that hit you?
How's that hit you?
Blind Mike, who used to work with
that
us.
one we know. Thank
Blind
you,
Mike,
Lewis.
Yep, that one in
One of my favorite players to
The
cover
outro.
when he was here was Mike Vrabel. Tell me Mike Vrabel's story.
I don't see that one applying often.
almost never. You got to put it on this board to play it once to qualify for the outro.
Okay. All right, back to Joe Matarese.
Yeah,
A
we
show with
got
good drops.
Fearless Joe is the next one.
This is Joe, as we've learned today, Joe's not taking any crap here, which I like.
He ain't taking no guff.
No.
Good podcast.
I was something I used to do before meds when an audience member would get out of line, get that nasty with them because I'm like, I'm on stage. My dad once watched a show and he was like, you're going to pick the wrong guy. He's going to want to kick your ass. I'm like, somehow I haven't. I go, I know how
what
to.
The father meant is that he paid for this.
Yeah.
I mean, what these people paid good money for these tickets.
Right.
You're doing this on stage.
I used to have to leave out other doors because I would piss people off that would have a lot of friends with them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, so this guy will probably.
The way he says used to. So that happened often where a gang of men were waiting to beat you up because you were so cutting with your acid tongue.
Yeah, he was like, your tie looks stupid. And they met him afterwards.
I've got to scurry out the back door.
God. But yeah, so this guy he'll be pissed at me if he sees this episode.
Oh man. Oh, I think that was another drop.
I just keep cutting
Albanese was hot on the drops today.
Just nonstop.
Finger boys.
Was there another Ojeda one on there?
No.
There wasn't?
No. We weren't, and before I changed computers, I have to check that one. There was more drops on that one.
All right. We got any more Matarese?
Yeah, we do. We got 4 more.
All right. Let's get through these.
We finally did it, Mike.
What?
We got to episode 3 premise.
Oh, Jesus. That was excruciating. So yeah, we hear all about Joe's softball league and 21. So we got about 9 minutes left to get to the premise of this episode.
About 80% through the episode.
That again, the entire episode is going to be about, I guess.
So this episode, which I'm slowly getting to, is kind of about sports and sports injuries and something that I'm going through right now.
It was about specifically your softball league.
Sports.
That's not a relatable sports topic. There's a reason it's not on Sports Center, Joe. People don't give a shit about it.
I would watch Sports Center for beer league, I think.
Would you watch it for the text chain drama of Joe? Actually, I probably would too. That's what we're doing right now. So.
I was going to say, if it's involved, we might have a hit.
I guess that's exactly what we're doing. So maybe Joe's onto something.
We might have a hit here.
Kind of about sports and sports injuries and something that I'm going through right now as a 56-year-old.
Thank you. That was
fascinating episode. You know what I was really hoping for is what you wear when a room is a little drafty. Could we do an episode on how many times you get up at night to piss? I was really hoping to hear about your aches and pains. That's a great idea for a topic, Joe. I'm 56. You know, my knee, I can tell a day before it's going to rain because of my knee. Oh, you should do a podcast about that.
We're finally on episode 4, but if you go by the Terminator timeline, was filmed before episode 3.
Yeah. So now this is the episode where Joe finally gets to that story about the fucking softball guy. We haven't heard enough about that yet.
But first, we got to hear him talking about scolding callers.
Okay. Oh, good. So this is not quite like I said when John, like Stuttering John, scolds his chat, or Kevin Brennan, like they scold people for not donating. It's not quite that level, but it is like, hey, I'm expecting you guys to participate, and you're not carrying your end of the bargain. We've had no fucking chats today. You see me yelling at these people? It's not your jobs. Take the week off. It's fine.
Yeah.
Go enjoy the day.
But if you don't super chat right now, you're fucking gay.
You're dead to us. But no, but you know, do as you wish.
But yeah, just know that in the back of your head.
You're not part of the Rock's crew if you don't super chat us. But
you're not part of the guys.
But that's on you.
So far, Dang Lizard, you're part of the guys, dude.
He's the only one.
He's the only one. But here we go.
Well, let's just get right into it because the first subject, and we didn't have a lot of callers this week on the show. We didn't have a lot of messages on my social media. I think it was my fault. I put it out, I tweeted it out and I realized I don't have as many people following me as I thought.
I realized, about 8 years ago, everyone kind of decided I'm a joke and they don't respect me. So, you know what? We're both to blame at the end of the day.
Monday, and then I said, "You guys," I gave him a deadline of Tuesday at 2:00 in the afternoon. Which
You give people deadlines? Yeah, get these reports back to me by tomorrow.
Nan Cram, whatever, from $28. I heard that.
It's about time, Nan Cram. You know, I see you giving Carl $40.
Nan Cram, not gay.
Thank you, Nan Cram.
Some of the regulars, they're like, "Dude, that was a tight time frame. I couldn't do the I'm like, "You can't write like what do you need 3 days to write like a sentence underneath it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that?" So
No, they have lives.
This is delusion like crazy.
This isn't their job. Oh, what did it take you a whole day to write? No, I'm doing other things, Joe.
Someone in the chat says they sent a nice voicemail from some African American acquaintances and Joe never played it.
Well, he might be behind.
He might be behind.
We'll see. Interesting. I don't know if we'll catch on to that or not, but we'll see.
Instagram, TikTok, all that. So I apologize. I guess I'll have to do that with more days leeway.
I guess if you guys are going to be dicks about it, I'll give you a little more time to do your assignments.
I'm gonna guess that call might pop up around like episode 7.
Oh, yeah, probably.
He seems to be cramming in there.
But yeah, this is Joe saying, like, you know, I gave you guys a month to do your book report, and no, it seems like some of you didn't even read the book.
You believe this?
I mean, what? This is you should be ashamed of yourselves. This is for you guys, really. You know, you're not going to have any content if you don't do it all for me.
You believe this? You heard about this?
I just don't do it with you guys anymore, and I just talked to.
Oh, go back. I want to hear him. Like, listen. I guess I'll turn this car around, and we won't go to Disneyland.
If you guys don't super chat us, we just won't go live anymore. You know what I mean?
I guess this is one my dad did. He'd roll down the window and say, "I guess Mike doesn't want any presents this year." And I'd say, "No, Santa, please. He's a liar."
No,
this man is lying. And that's what all the audience is doing. Joe, I want to hear myself on the voicemail. Come on. Please, Joe.
All right.
I feel famous when you play my voicemails.
Dang lizard, €2. I'm too old to be one of your boys, Craig. I like that. You know, no, I never said boys. I said you're one of the guys, dude.
One of the guys. That's what I like about the guys.
That's what I like about the guys.
I need that in the outro. That's a must. Not the more I'm thinking about it. That's a must.
What the fuck is this? Matt, $5. We love Mike. Craig should be nicer to Mike.
Thank you, Matt. That's true. Craig gives me a lot of gut. Meanwhile, I'm sweeping this guy's crimes under the rug, for Christ's sake. Oh, nothing to see here, folks.
All right, there's no crimes to be swept, but had there been, you'd be lifting the rug up and kicking him back out.
Well, I think that the people of the neighborhood did that when they called the police. This is not some, Mike observation. This was a town that was concerned about a menace.
Biggest mistake I ever made was not doing the TikTok thing when I'm like, oh, the cops are here. I better start recording this.
That's a lot of these people. They always the biggest mistake, not covering their tracks. They never think it was committing the atrocities.
I didn't do anything. I walked away from the bus.
Yeah.
Guys, I guess I'll have to do that with more days leeway, or I just don't do it with you guys anymore, and I just talk to Mike the whole time, which is what
you don't want that, do you?
These episodes.
You want more Mike Albanese?
You guys want more of this guy?
You heard his fucking Cosby story.
Yeah, the show could be like, I don't know, just a bunch of like, I think Mike Albanese, he's pretty good, and I think he might be the best producer I've ever seen in my life.
I just like the idea that Joe is like, okay, I guess if you guys aren't going to call in and leave voicemails, you also don't want ice cream.
Uh-oh.
And everyone's like, no, Joe, come on, we want ice cream. We'll be good.
We'll stop.
We're sorry.
We We got someone in the chat saying that Joe's deleting comments.
Oh, Joe, no.
Can you get some proof of that, please? That'd be nice. Send it my way. We got to see it.
The only thing, so we had this once where someone was like, "Oh, Mike deleted my comment."
We never.
I don't know if sometimes YouTube deletes them.
It depends on maybe like if you use a certain word.
Yeah, if you use no words by the. That's the only thing I could think of.
A definite word that gets deleted is anything that rhymes with bag.
Yep.
You know,
not anything, just the one that Craig says.
Just the one that will get terminated.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're like slurs and stuff. YouTube might delete it, but I hope Joe's not doing that because Joe, you need that. You need to be the one. I've been trying to get Tom Myers and all these Stuttering John and all these people to embrace. You got to embrace the trolls. That's what your life is now, buddy. If you want an audience, you need to embrace those guys.
Definitely.
I mean, not if they're going after fucking family or something, you know. But if they're just making sport of you, that's fine.
Right. Next we have.
In fact, can I say for the algorithm, Joe, you should be replying to those people.
Right.
And saying, "Hey, nuts to you, buddy."
Right.
That's how you boost the algorithm.
Next we have Working Blue.
Oh, good. I hope we're going to start getting a little. Joe's going to get a little crass here.
Mike, I don't know if these are things you can't relate with, some of these things. And the first big one is my wife went out of town on Monday, 8 a.m. flight.
Mike, you wouldn't be able to wrap your fucking mind around that. My wife left for a couple days. My wife had a couple just much needed days off from carrying the family on her shoulders for years.
Dang Lizard, €5. Mike, you're just like Detro's wife, letting Craig's kids starve because you didn't see nothing.
I know.
The episode he did on his kids being on his cell phone had a fake comment about someone's kid constantly live streaming while driving and staring into the chat instead of at the road, and it got deleted. That's nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. That's straight, Joe. I hope you're not doing that, Joe.
You just
take it from us.
Are you deleting funnier jokes about the topics you're talking about, Joe?
Yeah.
Come on, you can't be like that.
Florida, and she doesn't get back till Thursday night. Now, I always think it's going to be not a big deal, and it becomes so fucking hard. My brother has given me a note on the podcast, by the way. He's like, "You're too clean. You need to be dirtier." He literally said this. My brother's 9 years younger. Why don't you?
Hold on a second. Can you tell that was clearly that was in Joe's head? Because he goes, "It's so fucking hard." By the way, I got a note recently that I should curse more. It's like, yeah, Joe, it was pretty obvious that you screamed "fuck" at us because your wife was on vacation.
He's like, "You're too clean. You need to be dirtier." He literally said this. My brother's 9 years younger. Why don't you don't curse. You don't talk about eating like I guess I don't. I didn't even realize it.
Is it weird for your brother to not hear you talk about eating pussy?
Fair point, Mike.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's very weird. I don't hear you talk about licking your wife's box enough, who I've known for many years and is the mother of my niece and nephew.
Psycho Cleveland in the chat just says, quote, "I got a note from my cunt brother."
That I ain't fucking talking about, you suckers, enough.
Believe it or not, we're at our last clip here.
So here's what fucking Joe is gonna do. He's gonna listen to some of these goddamn notes from these fucking nosy people, these pussies that keep talking shit to Joe. He's gonna fucking address it.
This is the last clip we have of Joe.
Well, so I like this. So this is what Joe. This sums up Joe greatly. Is that his brother was, for some reason, apparently his brother is as out of touch, if not more, than Joe, because he's like, "You should say the F word more on your podcast." I don't know. I've never heard that note from anyone. Like the only I could honestly I could see you saying it like, hey, you curse too much, it seems forced or whatever.
Yeah.
You need to curse more. What possible advantage would that be?
I've been told to curse less.
That I can understand, but
Yeah.
curse more I don't understand. But Joe takes notes from if you're a human being who's given feedback on Joe, he'll respond to it. He'll take it to heart.
And so it's like, can I take notes from that guy?
Can I write down some fucking notes?
Some cunting notes.
Can I get some ball licking paper so I can write some twat fuck notes?
Twat fuck notes is funny. Maybe you should do that. Oh, if you start talking like that, it'd be my favorite show ever.
So I'm splooging all over the paper with ink. Taking these douche cunt notes.
My fucking slut daughter.
And my bitch son walks in and he's like, Dad, I've been fucking texting again.
Dad, that cunt mom stole my fucking phone.
That whore sliz teacher took my phone away. And I says, what's your fucking language, you pussy? I says, you tell that gas you'll fucking text when you want, bitch.
Can I take notes from that guy? Then I had another guy, I'm getting on a side note, but I think people also, if you start to listen to everybody's comment when you're podcasting, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yes, Joe.
Okay.
Now maybe take that advice and stop talking.
He really pulls out a scroll with every comment that he doesn't like.
Item 1.
Item 1, the show.
Now they seem to not like that I'm doing a show in general. Your thoughts?
I had another guy that I play softball with last night.
He's fucking obsessed with this shit, dude.
This guy drove him nuts.
Nuts.
But listen to this. So we just got the gist where he's like, yeah, this guy said my podcasting. Listen to the context of how this all transpired.
Just like he's like, I got him with that fucking mustache comment though.
Yeah. So he doesn't hit the cutoff, man. So naturally, I spent 45 minutes berating him.
So yeah, he missed the cutoff, man. So naturally, he's half like, "Whoa, Joe, you can't say that."
Come up to me, I don't understand why these people do this. You have anyone just come up to you and critique? I didn't ask for a critique. He just walked right up to me on the song.
My show's that bad; it just happens.
Hold on. He's also lying, which I'll get to in a moment. But he's like, yeah, people, isn't it crazy? I like that he's asking other people. He's like, do you ever have this happen to you? Does someone just walk up to you and say, your podcast stinks? No, that's a pretty unique problem, Joe.
Walked right up to me on the softball field in between. We're like going out to play defense. And he goes, oh, listen to the podcast. And he made a face. I go, I'm like, here it comes. And he goes, yeah, I wanted to like it. And
it feels like, I
wanted to like it.
That's such a great, I love this guy, but this guy should be doing a podcast. But that doesn't feel natural. What would feel more natural is if Joe said, what did you think about it? It doesn't feel natural for someone to go, hey, I listen to your podcast. No one says anything. There's some pause for some undetermined amount of time. And then the guy's like Joe's just staring at him during this time.
He's like, you gonna continue
blankly?
You gonna continue that thought?
Yeah. Hey, fuckhead.
What'd
you think of it?
And the guy's like, don't treat me like Mike Albanese.
I watched him and I go, dude, it was the first one. Give it a second. And I'm sitting here going, I probably I couldn't get along with this guy. He's going to probably see this episode and I'm going to be on the team with him. It's another beauty of podcasting. It fucks up things in your life.
Yeah.
I've had it fuck up comedy gigs. If I say one thing about a comedy club, it gets back to the gig. And then
if I say that the venue is a horrible place to work, all of a sudden they don't want to book me there anymore.
You believe that?
It's the damnedest thing.
I gotta see.
All I did is trash this venue one time.
So, the episode that he's talking about had 350 views.
Yeah.
What are the odds that someone you play beer league softball with?
Well, Craig, it's interesting. Was that the end of the clip? Because I'll tell you.
No, it's not.
Let's see. He might tell you. If not, I'll fill in the blanks. Because that's an astute observation, and I have the actual answer for you.
Oh, good. I love that.
Comedy gigs. If I say one thing about a comedy club, it gets back to the gig, and then they never want to use me again. This guy's gonna hate me. I'm not gonna say his name, but he didn't like the podcast, and I don't know what to tell you, dude. You know, we're not alike. We're not alike. What the fuck?
I'm too edgy for you. You'll hear how much I curse.
I do enjoy though that he's like, yeah, you know, this place that pays me to go tell jokes doesn't like when I say bad things and how bad it was, and this experience was shit.
Whether it's this guy on my softball team or the comedy clubs I work for, no one seems to like what I'm doing.
I tell one person my wife sucks at cooking, and now she won't cook for me no more.
Let's wrap this up.
That was it?
Okay, so I'll tell you then, because I'm excited to tell you.
I'm excited to hear this.
Because Joe is acting like he stumbled into this criticism. Like this guy randomly found his podcast. You're right, only 350 views. How did this guy even know Joe was doing a podcast? Well, I know exactly how, because he revealed it later in the episode.
Oh, good.
As you mentioned, we heard a lot about the group chat that happens with the softball league.
Oh, right.
When episode 1 dropped, Joe texted everyone and said, please listen to my podcast.
Oh.
So then the guy goes, yeah, I did what you told me to listen to it, and I didn't love it. And Joe's like, the audacity of this man.
So I got to be honest. So if say we're in a group chat, right, Mike? And I send an episode, not asking anyone to be on it. I'm just sending one that I did.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm asking for feedback.
It's literally what you're doing. You're saying, listen to this so I can get all of your thoughts.
Can you tell me what you did like, what you didn't like? I need
Poor
to know.
Joe. I sympathize with the feeling. He's so desperate for people to like him.
Yeah.
Now, what he's really doing there is like, could you guys tell me this was good, please? You don't even have to listen to it.
Just say, good job, dude. Keep it up.
Yeah. Could you tell me how great this was? It doesn't matter if you listen or not. Just tell me it was awesome.
Please. That's all I
Or I'm going to fucking get rowdy in here. Just like my brother, just like my dick bag brother wants me to.
Every episode is dropping in views. Poor guy.
Well, we're trying to boost that up. Go watch Joe Matarese.
Go watch his show. Go watch his show, and if you see anything interesting, let me know what the timestamp is.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe I don't know if we'll check back in on Joe next week, but we'll see him in the future.